Guys, I am back with another tutorial. In this video, I'm going to use AWS CodeDeploy to install WordPress on an EC2 instance. Now, WordPress is a very popular web page building application and is free to download from GitHub. So let's take a look at the network diagram to see what I'll be doing. All right, here's the network diagram. Let me just zoom out so we can get a bird's eye view of what it looks like. So let's take this step by step. This video is going to be a little quick because I have already pre-configured the networking construct for this tutorial. For example, I have already built out the VPC and the networking components. The S3 bucket has already been created along with the app spec and the scripts folder uploaded. The security group, the IAM instance role, and the key pair has also been created. So that should speed up the video pretty quickly. Let's take a look at the steps here. For the first step, I'm going to launch an EC2 instance, and then I'm going to use the Amazon Linux 2 OS for that EC2 instance. The instance will be associated with an instance role. And then for step 2, I'm going to install Ruby, Git, and wget from the Linux extras of the operating system onto the EC2 instance. And then for step 3, right here, I'm going to download the CodeDeploy agent onto my EC2 instance. And I got the command right here that'll show us what to use to download that and where to download it. And then from there, I'm going to change the permissions of the installer file so that way we can execute the installation of the CodeDeploy agent. Next, on number 4, number 4 is right here. I'm going to download or git clone the WordPress application from the Git repository onto my EC2 instance right here. And so we're going to get that done. Let me turn on the cursor. That way it's nice and bright. Okay, great. And then for step number 5, which is right here, I'm going to copy the entire bucket content in my S3 bucket onto my EC2 instance in the WordPress folder. So basically this is going to contain the app spec YAML file, and then it's going to contain all of the scripts that belong to the lifecycle hooks. And we can take a look at that closer in detail when we get to that step. Step number 6 is going to bundle the app spec YAML, the scripts, and the WordPress that was downloaded from GitHub into a zip file, a single zip file. And then from there, that zip file is going to be uploaded to the S3 bucket. So that way CodeDeploy can refer to the URI of the S3 bucket to run its application during deployment. And then number 8 is going to be the process of deploying the application using CodeDeploy. And then finally, I'm going to test the accessing the WordPress from the web browser. So let's go ahead and take a look at the AWS console. And here's the AWS console right here. And let's go ahead and launch our instance. Actually, before we do that, I need to check and make sure I deleted my application from a previous test run. So let me do that really quick here. And I think I did. Applications. Okay, no applications. Great. All right, here we go. Let's launch an instance. Okay, let's call this WP-EC2, which is WordPress-EC2. And then for the AMI, I'm going to choose Linux 2 AMI because that has all of the extras such as Maria database and all the Git and wget. So we're going to choose that one. And then for the instance type, I'll leave it as T2 micro. For the key pair, I've already created a key pair for this lab. I'm going to choose EC2-key pair. And then for the network settings, I've already created my VPCA, so I'll choose that. And then for the subnet, it's going to be in the public subnet that I created as well. I'm going to assign a public IP address so I can SSH into it. For the security group, I'm going to choose my existing security group, which allows me HTTP and SSH from my IPv4 address. And then from there, the advanced details that I need to select here for IAM instance profile, I need to choose my predefined instance role, which is what I call my EC2 CodeDeploy instance role. All right, and then we can take a look at that here by going into IAM. It's taking a while. All right, so here's the role here, and let's take a look at that. This is the one that I created earlier. And so in this one, here's my policy for the role. Under the policy, I have allowed CodeDeploy and also S3 and also EC2 describe and terminate instances. And then for the trust relationships, I have defined the principal services as CodeDeploy and EC2. So going back to my EC2 instance here, let's just start over, WP-EC2, and then Amazon Linux 2, and the key pair is going to be EC2 key pair. Network setting is going to be VPCA, predefined, public subnet, enable IPv4, public. Select existing security group. This is my security group here. And if we need to take a look at the security group, we can go ahead and do that. Security group. Open a new tab. Here is the security group that I've defined, which is basically allow us ICMP, HTTP, and SSH sourcing from my IPv4 address just to lock it down. All right, so that's what the security group looks like, in case you're wondering. And then for the advanced details, again, going back, choosing the IAM instance role that I created here, and then I'll hit launch instance. All right, so that's done. Let's go ahead and click on that. All right, and here it is. If I click on this, and here is the public IPv4 address. Let me just copy that. Go into my terminal application here, SSH-I EC2 key pair, EC2-user at, I'll hit yes, and basically I am in. All right, going back to the network diagram here. So I've already launched the EC2 instances here for step number 1, and it's already got the instance role associated with it. For number 2, I need to install Ruby, wget, and git from my Linux Extras OS onto the EC2. So let me go ahead and do that. Go ahead and go back to the terminal here. All right, and then I need to do all this, git, Ruby, and wget. All right, so that's all done. Let's go back to the network diagram. So step 2 is done. Now I need to download, for step 3, I need to download the CodeDeploy agent onto my EC2 server, so that way the EC2 can communicate with the CodeDeploy service. So in case you are wondering where to get this CodeDeploy agent, I got it right here. On this page here, you can see that this is where to get the CodeDeploy agent. So in this example here, it says HTTPS, and then in this one, it's using US East-2 S3 for the latest version. But I'm in US East-1 for my lab, so I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to change the region accordingly. Actually, I got it right here, so let me just do this. All right, so I'm using the S3 bucket in US East 1, and there is the latest version for CodeDeploy. All right, looks like it's done. And we need to make this an executable file. Let me see, so I'm already done with that one, so we need to make that an executable file, right? So we'll just copy this here, change mode and make it executable. Go back into my command line. All right. There it is. Now we just need to go ahead and install that application now. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, it looks like it's done. And so then we can always verify the process is there. And it is running indeed. CodeDeploy agent is running. All right. Next step is we need to get a copy of WordPress from GitHub, which is step number 4 right here. GitHub repository, WordPress. We need to download that into our EC2 instance. So I got that command line here. So in case you want to know where to get that, you type in GitHub and then you just say WordPress. It will take you to WordPress here. Click on that and then you can get the code from here. Right, so in my example here, I have my command already written out here. I'm going to install it, download it into my home directory under the folder called WordPress that I'll create. Here we go. All right, it's downloading. Still downloading, 34, 35%. All right, almost there. Okay, that's done. Let's go ahead and see what the next step is. Okay, so for the step number 5, I need to copy the entire bucket content into my my WordPress folder. So let's take a look at this. It's in my S3 bucket called WP bucket 95134. Go back to the AWS console. All right, so from here, I'm going to take a look at the S3 bucket now. And then when I do that, you can see here in my bucket, I have the AppSpec YAML file, and then under the scripts folder, I have all of these lifecycle hook scripts. So let me just download this into the EC2 instance. All right, so, and then we can take a look at the content. All right, so here's my command for that. Let me just go back into my terminal here. All right, so AWS S3 copy source is my bucket, and then that slash is basically everything in that bucket into my home directory under the WordPress folder. All right, that's downloaded. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the AppSpec file. So for the AppSpec file, basically it says source and destination, where it's going to be sent to. And then for the lifecycle hooks, I have before install, after install, application start, and application stop. So for the before install, basically I'm saying add some of the services, okay? And then we can take a look at the services in a few minutes here, in a few seconds. And then for the after install, basically I'm saying change the permissions on that. And then for the application start, basically is system control start services is what it's doing. And then for the application stop, it's just stopping those services. So let's take a look at the file. So for the before install, which is right here, I'm basically saying install PHP Apache, right? And then I'm also going to say install the Maria database server. And then after install, I'm basically saying change the permissions in the WordPress directory. For the application start, I'm saying start the MariaDB service, and then also start the Apache service. And then for the stop, application stop, I'm stopping those two services. So that's pretty much it for the scripts hit there. And let's go ahead and take a look at this network diagram. So I've already downloaded the entire content of the S3 bucket into my WordPress folder. So now I need to zip everything together into one zip folder. So, and the reason for that is because I want to zip everything here and then send it to the S3 bucket, so that way when CodeDeploy is initiating the application, it knows where to get the instructions to build and install the application. All right, so let's go ahead and bundle and zip the contents in the WordPress folder. Okay, so zip minus R. I'm going to send it to the temp directory, and then it's going to be called WordPress underscore bundle.zip, and then basically the space dot is zip everything in this current location. This could take up to a minute here, maybe less. It's going pretty quick. All right, so that's done. Nice. cd/tmp ls, and there it is, my WordPress bundle.zip. All right. So I've already zipped that. Now I'm going to copy that zip file into the S3 bucket. AWS S3 copy source file into the destination, which is the bucket. And that's done. Let's take a look at the S3 bucket here. Going back to the main bucket here, if I hit refresh, and there it is, WordPress underscore bundle.zip. All right, so that's done. Now is the fun part. We go to CodeDeploy. So from here, I'll choose CodeDeploy, search for CodeDeploy, and here, create an application, my WordPress application is what I'm going to call it. For the compute platform, I'm going to choose EC2 and on-premises. All right, and then for the deployment group, I need to create a deployment group, give it a name, my WordPress deployment group. Service role, again, I'm going to choose that service role that I created that has the CodeDeploy as the service. All right, and then for the deployment type, it's going to be in place. Instead of blue-green, we're just going to choose in place. Environment configuration is going to be EC2 instances for the key, so that way CodeDeploy knows which devices to install the application to. I'm going to choose name for the key. Value is my EC2 host name. All right, and then install CodeDeploy agent. Now in schedule updates, we don't need that actually. And then for the all at once is what we wanted. Uncheck the load balancing because we don't have a load balancer created in this demo. Create deployment group. Let's go ahead and do that. Deployment group created. And then we'll just say create deployment. Okay, so here's the deployment. All right, deployment group, in place, EC2. And then for the revision type is going to be, the application is located in my S3 bucket. I need a location to point it to, so I go back here and I click on this and I say copy S3 URI. Go back to CodeDeploy, paste it in here. There it is. And we'll leave everything as default there. hit create deployment. And let's see if this works or not. In progress. All right, it's done. It says succeeded. 1 of 1. Events. Let's take a look at the events here. Here's all of the lifecycle hooks. Everything is succeeded. So how do we test this out? Let's go back to our instance. Here's the instance here. And then if I copy this public IP address, open a tab, /wp-admin, I believe. Oops. What if I hit WordPress? I think it's one of these. There it is. You type in WordPress and this is what you get now. So now it's asking you to configure a few things. So let's just say, let's go. All right, database name. Default is going to be test for now. This is just anonymous, no password. Just hit submit for now. All right, you made it through this part. Continue with the installation. Site name, my first site. Username, I'm just gonna put admin. For password, I'll just copy whatever's here. And then for email, say I love CodeDeploy at yahoo.com. Install WordPress. It's installing. Okay, now it's asking me to log in. All right, again, it's admin and it remembered my password. So that's great. Let me just log in. And there you have it. We are in as the admin for this WordPress blog website. You can build here. You can create posts if you want. Add new post. Nice. Hello. This is my first post. Publish. Publish. It's live. Great. Anyways, that looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the network diagram here again to see what we've done. So just to recap here, guys, what I did was I basically launched an EC2 instance. I installed a few tools to allow me to download and clone the WordPress application from GitHub. And then from there, I have the app spec and the scripts files in my S3 bucket. And then basically I sent those files into my EC2, and then along with the WordPress application, I bundled that all into a zip file. I sent that to the S3 bucket so that way the code deploy can use the instructions to build my WordPress application, and then I was able to test that out. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty simple. That's pretty quick. That's how I was able to deploy the WordPress application from GitHub into using the AWS CodeDeploy service on my EC2 instance. So I hope this helps you guys out, and I'll be working on another video shortly. Thank you.